All right, so objective 40, equations with rational numbers. Now, we did equations all last week. We did equations when we actually took the algebra tiles. When we do them with rational numbers, what that means, all the numbers you did last week were rational. If I said x plus 5 equals 10, those are rational. But rational numbers can include other things that are ugly, like decimals, or fractions, or mixed fractions. So when I say equations with rational numbers, it's like equations that might have some ugly numbers in them. Things that we couldn't do with our algebra tiles. At this point, we need to know how to solve simple one-steppers. And by one-stepper, I mean x plus 5 equals 10. You need to be able to do something like that. Depending on the equation, we may need to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Let's refresh our brains with some examples. Equations with rational. So these are simple one-steppers. We're going to do all three of these using subtraction. So this is going back to when we started equations like 2 weeks ago. Doing them with subtraction. The very first one, what am I going to subtract?
6 minus 4.
5.
Oh, 4 on both sides.
Yeah, 4, 8. 4 on both sides, and x equals what? 2. All right, on this one, x is on the right side, so I want to subtract what?
3 on both sides. 3.
3. And then I get
14.
14 is x. And lastly, x is on the right, and that 2 needs to go, so I...
Minus 2. X equals 7.
Yeah, 7 is x is 7. All three of these, it was one step. Subtract the right thing, you get the right answer. All three of these, what do you need to do?
Addition.
Add, solve using addition. So, x is over here with a negative 4. What kills a negative 4?
Positive 4.
Plus 4, so what's our answer?
X equals 10.
All right, this one, still it's kind of weird because instead of x minus 2, they said negative 2 plus x. But think of it like your angels and demons. Negative 2 is 2 demons, so what do you need to bring to kill it?
Positive, angels.
2 angels, so a plus 2.
And then x equals 14.
And x equals 14. And lastly, x is on the right side on this one with a negative 4.
Plus 4.
So bring a plus 4.
25.
And it is 25 equals x. All right, nothing difficult there. Continuing with that same one-step stuff.
You're going way too fast.
Oh, back up. Did you get all? Are you on the bottom 3?
X equals 14 minus
Okay, the next one. Before I even put it up there, the next one, looking at example 3, are you going to use multiplication or division on example 3?
Oh, division. Divide.
So I'm getting ready to put this up here and you're going to use
Oh, I put using dividing.
division. Yeah, whatever you want to put there. If you want to put,
Dividing,
if you want to put that right there, or you want to write dividing. If you want to put division or just div.
Yeah, I'm putting div.
Okay. No adding or subtracting needed on these because there's no extra pieces. This is x over. Whoop, wrong. Where is it? There it is. Okay, this is 7x. That 7 is called a what?
A coefficient.
Coefficient. It's a big number attached to your letter. Do you see any plus or minus between these two?
No.
Or here?
No.
Or,
No.
well, there's only, that's ugly.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that is. Okay, so the thought is to get a big number off your letter, to get a coefficient off your letter, divide it off.
Divide by 7 on both sides.
Yeah, divide by 7 and x equals
2.
2. Now over here, your letter, your x is on the right, and the coefficient is 4, so divide both sides by
4. 0.
Equals 1.
1 equals x.
1 equals x. 4 divided by 4 is what, CW?
X.
4 divided by 4 is?
Y. Which equals x.
And this is supposed to say 9x, but the hole punch knocked it out. But the coefficient is 9, so we divide both sides by
9.
9.
And equals 3.
Sorry about the hole punch. 3 equals x. And lastly,
Multiplication. Multiply.
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 Anytime, these are just like coefficients except for when your coefficient is below your letter.
You multiply.
Yeah, look and see, the number is not to the left, the number is below. It's still like a coefficient. It's stuck below your letter. It's below your letter. It's below your letter, which below your letter means dividing, and the opposite of dividing is
What if the 7 would be above? Wait, so what would you multiply?
What if what?
The 7 was over the x.
Like the
Oh.
7, okay, that would be totally, if the x is in the bottom,
It's 21.
that's a totally different issue. If the x is up top, that's fine.
Are we gonna do that type of equation later on?
At some point, you'll need to be able to get yourself out of it. If you had 7 over x, that's a mess. But we will get out of there. But we're not there yet.
And you multiply by
Okay, multiply this by,
16. 3, 7. 7 on both
Which
sides
one?
and 7 times 3.
yeah, which one is it? Which one?
7.
7. You see the 7 there, so multiply by 7. And x equals.
21.
21,
Okay, this one, multiply both sides by,
3, 12, 3.
Fix your hair.
and
It is 36.
Ooh, I beat you. And then 16.
yeah, multiply both sides by 4.
Tell me what to do.
16.
X is 16.
Why you
Okay,
always want-
Understand all that. It's very simple.
Yes.
Everything we did was very simple. Those numbers that you saw, very easy. When we talk about rational numbers, those are all rational, but rational could get ugly. So I want to start showing you what it could look like if it's ugly. So eyes up, eyes up. Hey, eyes this way, eyes this way. I want everybody's conversation to be with me.
Can we look at the paper?
Conversation with me.
Okay.
All right, the numbers and answers for the previous examples were integers. They're very easy. -4, +4, over 7, or 4 times 4. What we do when we're given different numbers, this time we're given fractions.
Oh, dang.
We're going to work it out the same way. This is a one-step problem. I want you to tell me, where is the x, on the left or the right?
That's on the left, cuz.
Okay, the x is on the left. It's right here. Is there another piece on the left other than that one?
2/3.
2/3.
So you subtract 2/3.
So what we need to do is go, okay, is it a positive or negative 2/3?
Positive.
Positive.
So what is going to kill a
Negative.
positive
Negative.
2/3?
So we just use our calculator for
I gotta
this.
get 5.
But we need to set it up,
2/3.
because you need to think about it. If it's a positive 2/3, I got to kill it with
Negative 2/3.
on both sides. So negative 2/3. 2/3 minus 2/3 is dead. And x equals 5/8 minus 2/3.
-1.
Which equals -4.
Negative 1 over
Negative
24.
-1 over 24. So we just write that down.
-4, bro.
Yeah, and whatever this says,
It's not heavy.
negative 1/24, that is the answer.
I'm smarter than you, bro.
That's why I didn't answer it. You said 4.
I was kidding.
Hey, girls.
Hey, girls.
Hey, quiet the chatter. So we can do this. We have 2 more pages to go. Any questions on what we just did though? You see how these numbers are going to get ugly, and they can get uglier fast, but it's the same process.
That was hard.
Okay, here's the next one. Not that one. This one.
You just do the same thing but add. Don't you?
All right, what I want you to see though, look across the whole equation up here. The biggest issue is we've got 2 different types of fractions. That's just a regular fraction, and that's that's a mixed fraction. If you read down here, it says, oh no, we have 2 different types of fractions. And then it says, who cares? They're both just silly numbers.
Same, right?
So don't worry about the fact that the fractions are different. First off, it's an equation. I know this. How?
Because it has no...
Because it has a
Equal sign.
equal sign.
Equal sign.
Yeah.
So then I've got a left side and a right side. That's what an equation is, a left side and a right side. I'm looking to see if there's only one x piece. Where is it at?
It's on the left.
It's on the left. Fortunately, it's just a nice non-coefficient x. Now there's something else on the left. What is it?
5, 6. Negative 5, 6.
Negative 5, 6. If x is on the left, x needs to be the only thing on the left, so I need to kill negative 5, 6. What kills a negative 5, 6?
Positive 5, 6.
So I need to put a plus 5, 6 on both sides. So I'm going to put a plus 5, 6 on both sides. Now negative 5, 6 and positive 5, 6, that killed it off. That was the whole purpose. X equals, in my calculator what I'm going to do is I'm going to put negative 2 1/5 plus 5, 6 and see what I get.
Negative 1 and 1/3.
Or
Well, at first, what does it say?
Or negative 41 over 30. Yeah.
I like negative 1.
I thought it said -1 or 11/30.
It's negative 1.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay, the first thing that you get is this, right?
Yes.
Negative 41 over 30. Write that first. X equals negative 41 over 30. However, because you had a mixed fraction in your problem, your answer is very likely going to be a mixed answer. So convert it to a mixed number, and it is negative 1 and 11/30. Either one is acceptable.
I can't read right now.
Either one's acceptable, but because of the mixed number on the problem, I would imagine you might have a mixed number in your answer. Alright, here's a totally different problem. This is an equation. I know it's an equation because of what?
Because it has a left and right.
Because of this equal sign. I got a left side and a right side. Now, where is the x piece?
On the left.
On the left. Okay, so I've got all this stuff over on the left. Is this one piece or is this two pieces?
Two.
One.
One piece.
One piece. But you need to see that. So eyes up, eyes up, eyes up. I know some of you are like pushing buttons on the calculator. I want your eyes up. I want your eyes up here. You need to see that this is one piece. A lot of students will go, oh, it's two pieces. I need to add 7/9 to each side. This is not two pieces.
No.
Do you see a sign between these two?
No.
No. So then that makes this a what?
Makes it.
A coefficient.
Yeah.
And how have we always got our coefficient off of our letter?
Divide.
Divide. Even though it's a fraction and it's left of my x, so I can say whatever it is, I want to divide it. And it's negative 7/9. So I'm going to divide by
Negative 7/9.
negative 7/9. So I'm going to put a line under and put negative 7/9. Now, anything divided by itself is 1. So negative 7/9 divided by negative 7/9, that's going to be 1. 1x, or just x. In your calculator, you're going to want to say 7/3 divided by negative 7/9, and what do you get?
You get
7/3
-3.
divided by negative
-3.
7/9, and you get negative 3. So x equals
Negative 3.
negative 3. Now there's actually two ways to work it, and we're going to do both. This was one way, so what we just did, don't forget, on the back side, the last page, we're going to work it out both ways. When your coefficient's a fraction, you have options. Whichever one that works best for you is the one that you should do. Alright, our coefficient is a fraction. So you can always, if you got your coefficient left of your letter, you can always divide it off, no matter how ugly it is. If it's a fraction, if it's a decimal, whatever it is, you can divide it off. Which is what we did right here. So we'll do what we did again. Divide both sides by negative 7/9. Divide both sides by negative 7/9. And we got x equals what? On the other page?
-3.
Negative 3. Now the other option you have is to multiply. Solve using multiplication. If it's a fraction, you can multiply with what is called the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of negative 7/9 is negative 9/7. The reason you can do that is because if you multiply to negative 7/9 times a negative 9/7,
It's that.
it would end up being a 1. Negative 7/9 ends up being a 1. So if you want to multiply, if you see your coefficient's a fraction, and you want to multiply, you can do this. Multiply by negative 9/7. So write that on each side. My coefficient's a fraction. Instead of dividing it off, I'm going to multiply it off by doing reciprocals. Anytime you multiply two reciprocals, they become 1, so you just get x. And then you multiply the right side. Negative 7/9, or negative 7/3 times ends up being negative. Same thing.
So you can work it either way.
Either way, whichever one you feel best about is the one you should do. If you're just used to saying, hey, coefficient, and the rule says divide coefficients off, just do that. If you guys are, if you want to, and you see this and you go, hey, I think it's easier to multiply by the reciprocal, you have that option as well.
I don't know what I just did.
Okay, the last thing, the biggest thing to remember anytime you're doing one of these problems, identify where the x is, and then kill off any pieces that are with it. These were all one step. I'm going to do one problem up here that I'm just going to make up, and it's going to be 2 steps. But first I want a number that has 2 decimals.
0.57.
Something 0.57. Give me something.
1.57.
2.57?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2.57
6.94. Yeah, 6.94.
minus
6.94.
6.94 equals something. Give me something. How much? What?
8.23.
8.23. All right, this equation has got decimals everywhere. And this is actually a 2-stepper. First off, find the x on the left or the right.
Left.
Left.
Okay, it's right here. That's the x piece. The whole piece is this whole ugly thing. Now, is there something else over here with the x? Another piece.
Yes, a negative 6.94.
Negative
Use
6.94.
6.
So how do I kill a negative 6.94?
Positive 6.94.
Right here.
Add 6.94.
So plus 6.94 on both sides. And you end up with 2.57 x equals 15.77,
.7.
or wait,
17.
0.17. Okay, so we just killed this piece off by adding, and then that's what made us 15.17.
So you divide by 2.57.
And now you look and say, here's your x with this coefficient, so divide both sides by 2.57, and we get x equals what?
5.902723735. The big
902, so then we'll just go 5.90 or 5.9 if we're going to leave it there. And that's it. So find your x. If there's another piece over there with your x, kill it off by adding or subtracting on both sides. And then if you have a coefficient with your x, last thing you do, and always the last thing you do, is divide the coefficient off. Don't ever divide the coefficient off first. Kill this piece off first, divide your coefficient off second, and there's your answer. That's a 2-step equation. Okay, that is it. Let's go ahead and get started working today.